Four species had been visiting Earth for thousands of years.
But other times I'd be in the dark room. Yeah, I'd be in there, and you know, one of the rules was no chairs in the dark room. I'd run into a chair and just start cussing up a storm. Bob, you come in there. Help! What's the problem? Some dumb motherfucker left a goddamn chair in the fucking dark room. And he'd be like, "All right, just calm down." You know, like, take it out, and you just take it away, and that'd be it.
Meditation 1. Of the things of which we may doubt. Several years have now elapsed since I first became aware that I had accepted, even from my youth, many false opinions for true, and that consequently what I afterwards based on such principles was highly doubtful. And from that time I was convinced of the necessity of undertaking once in my life to rid myself of all the opinions I had adopted, and of commencing anew the work of building from the foundation, if I desired to establish a firm and abiding superstructure in the sciences. But as this enterprise appeared to me to be one of great magnitude, I waited until I had attained an age so mature as to leave me no hope that at any stage of life more advanced I should be better able to execute my design. On this account I have delayed so long that I should henceforth consider I was doing wrong were I still to consume in deliberation any of the time that now remains for action. Today, then, since I have opportunely freed my mind from all cares, and am happily disturbed by no passions, and since I am in the secure possession of leisure and a peaceable retirement, I will at length apply myself earnestly and freely to the general overthrow of all my former opinions. But to this end, it will not be necessary for me to show that the whole of these are false, a point perhaps which I shall never reach, but as even now my reason convinces me that I ought not the less carefully to withhold belief from what is not entirely certain and indubitable than from what is manifestly false, it will be sufficient to justify the rejection of the whole if I shall find in each some ground for doubt. Nor for this purpose will it be necessary even to deal with each belief individually, which would be truly an endless labor. But as the removal from below of the foundation necessarily involves the downfall of the whole edifice, I will at once approach the criticism of the principles on which all my former beliefs rested. All that I have, up to this moment, accepted as possessed of the highest truth and certainty, I received either from or through the senses. I observed, however, that these sometimes misled us, and it is the part of prudence not to place absolute confidence in that by which we have even once been deceived. But it may be said, perhaps, that although the senses occasionally mislead us respecting minute objects, and such as are so far removed from us as to be beyond the reach of close observation, there are yet many other of their presentations, of the truth of which it is manifestly impossible to doubt, as, for example, that I am in this place, seated by the fire, clothed in a winter dressing-gown, that I hold in my hands this piece of paper, with other intimations of the same nature. But how could I deny that I possess these hands and this body, and withal escape being classed with persons in a state of insanity, whose brains are so disordered and clouded by dark, bilious vapours as to cause them pertinaciously to assert that they are monarchs when they are in the greatest poverty, or clothed in gold and purple when destitute of any covering, or that their head is made of clay, their body of glass, or that they are gourds? I should certainly be not less insane than they, were I to regulate my procedure according to examples so extravagant.
I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah. Well, there are 2 books in print purporting to tell the story of your life, your rages, your excesses, your lusts, your dreams. I think that I'm almost quoting from the cover of one of them. Can we trust those? And if not, how do they get away with it?
I don't think it's worth going into. I mean,
on their part or mine?
No, well, news news, of course, is big business, and there are news items that are worth $100. There are some that are worth several $1,000s. Some news items are worth $100,000, and some are $2 items. But news is business, and people sell news. And unfortunately, people in my position, people in the public eye, are sellable commodities, but they're not any different than Kleenex or Dial soap or anything else. And so if we, find something out that's about your sex life or something that you do with your fingernails after you cut them off,
Who told you that?
If you smoke the grime from your navel, then that's big news. That's important. He's Dick Adams. Smokes the grime from his navel and he saves his fingernail parings.
I'd rather you hadn't mentioned that about me. I revealed that to you in private, and I thought I could trust you.
But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Something living inside her brain.
I started feeling numbness in my day. I'm still smiling for my kind of day.
Some folks trust a reason, others trust in light. I don't trust nothing, but I know it come out right.
She goes, everybody's calling and saying they're praying for you, they're praying for you. Church, they're going to church and they're having the mass, pray for you. And power of prayer.
And then the unexpected. No tumor, instead a worm.
Say it once again now. Oh, I hope you understand. When it's done and over, a man is just a man. Rain in the band. Daybreak on the land.
In either case, the misconceptions rest upon arbitrary interpretations, superficiality, or complete ignorance of the facts. If the patient is himself a doctor, his special knowledge may prove extremely tiresome. To intelligent colleagues, it is best to give a complete theoretic exposition.
Some folks look for answers, others look for fights. Some folks up in treetops, just looking for their kites. But I can tell you future, oh, just look what's in your hand. But I can't stop for nothing, I'm just playing in the band. Playing in the band. Daybreak on the land.
With foolish and limited persons, you begin quietly with analysis. In the unconscious of such folk, there is a confederate that never refuses help. From the analysis of the very earliest dreams, the emptiness of the criticism is obvious, and ultimately of the whole beautiful edifice of supposedly scientific skepticism, nothing remains save a little heap of personal vanity. I have had amusing experiences here.
Standing on a tower, world at my command. You just keep turning while I'm playing in the band. If a man among you got no sin upon his hand, let him cast a stone at me for playing in the band. Playing in the band. Daybreak on the land.
It is best to let the patient talk freely and to confine oneself to pointing out connections here and there. When the conscious material is exhausted, we come to the dreams, which furnish us with the subliminal material. If people have no dreams, as they allege, or if they forget them, there is usually still some conscious material that ought to be produced and discussed, but is kept back owing to resistances. When the conscious is emptied, then come the dreams, which are indeed, as you know, the chief material of the analysis.
How the analysis is to be made and what is to be said to patients depends firstly upon the material to be dealt with, secondly on the doctor's skill, and thirdly on the patient's capacity. I must insist that no one ought to undertake analysis except on the basis of a sound knowledge of the subject that necessitates an intimate understanding of the existing literature. Without this, the work may be bungled. The work may be bungled. The work may be bungled. I do not know what else to tell you beforehand. I must wait for further questions.
Power prayer.
Instead, a worm.
Laying in the bend, daybreak on the land. Laying in the bend, daybreak on the land. Laying like a wave upon the sand. Daybreak while I'm playing in the band.
Instead, a worm.
Power prayer.
First of all, he was scared out of his skin. But after that, when he got to know them, how he was working with, and finally they became to trust each other. But just as children survive the idea of the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus when they become adult, I think that tax-paying citizens are quite capable of accepting the new and broader reality that we live in a cosmos teeming with life of various sorts. Who are these vested interests, and what are they up to? This will require a paradigm shift in American attitudes, that we have to live in harmony with our celestial neighbors as well as seeking peace on earth.
Instead, a worm.